Nestled in the hills of central Pennsylvania is a tiny coal mining town, home to Yingling Brewery, but otherwise a speck on the map compared to the great metropolises of the NFL. According to residents here, though, it's the scene of the greatest miscarriage of justice in the league's history, a travesty that has never been righted, and that to this day haunts two communities, one of them thousands of miles away, the other right here in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. To fully understand, you have to go back to the 1920s. America's big cities were roaring and glamorous, while dusty coal towns like Pottsville were driving the country's engine with backbreaking, dirty, thankless work.
They were the ones that provided the raw materials for probably the greatest industrial revolution in the history of the world, and they did it sort of one fistful of coal at a time.
Football provided a much-needed diversion. The town's team wasn't exactly the Chicago Bears or the New York Giants. In fact, the Pottsville Maroons played in the Anthracite Coal League. That is, until they joined the NFL in 1925.
Back then, all you needed was a $500 franchise fee, and if the NFL agreed, you could get in.
The team's roster was a mix of minors and young college grads. Former Lafayette College quarterback Jack Ernst, Charlie Berry, a wide receiver who said his ability to hold onto the ball could be traced back to his days delivering slippery milk bottles, and the heart of the team, the running back known simply as Push 'em Up Tony.
Tony Latone was forced into the mines at 11 and spent 8 years underground. One of his last jobs that he did was pushing 2-ton coal carts up to the railroad tracks. That perfectly mimicked the sort of muscle groups and the activity of running backs.
When he hit the line and didn't go through, he'd go back 10 yards and get another flying start and plunge through.
The team's coach was Dick Rout, a Penn State grad, whose main expertise was bird watching.
When he first came to town, they said, how can a bird watcher coach this team? But I think the town gravitated to him as he started winning games.
Coach Dick Rout's idea was, these guys are going to become part of our community. They're going to live here every day. We're going to practice every day. And this was revolutionary at the time.
All of Pottsville was behind the Maroons. And in their first NFL season, they weren't just good, they were great. The Maroons outscored their opponents by an average of over 20 points, and by early December, they were 9-2. The league championship would be determined by winning percentage, and the Maroons and the Chicago Cardinals were neck and neck.
The Cardinals said, well, let's have these sort of, coal cracker hillbillies come over to Comiskey Park. We'll beat them up, and then it will be the unanimous choice for NFL champion.
Well, Pottsville just ran wild out there.
The Maroons beat the Cardinals 21-7, earning what they thought was the championship, and they returned to a hero's welcome at the Pottsville train station.
They were waiting for the train, and when they heard the whistle blow and the old locomotive way down the line, they cheered. The roar was something, I'm telling you, it was fabulous.
I mean, imagine a little town today like Pottsville. They were world champions.
Just 6 days later, the Maroons challenged mighty Notre Dame. Back then, the NFL was considered second-rate to the college game, and the famed Four Horsemen confidently rode into Philadelphia's Shibe Park. Yet after a late field goal, the next day's headlines proclaimed the unthinkable. The Maroons' 9-7 victory would have far-reaching effects.
It was the Maroons defeating Notre Dame and the famed Four Horsemen that really made the nation stand up and accept the NFL and pro football for what it was.
They beat the greatest football team ever assembled at a time when people thought the NFL was a joke, and the NFL paid them back by destroying the Maroons.
What should have been the Maroons' best moment became its most controversial. Their Philadelphia rivals, the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, complained to the league that Pottsville violated a little-known territory rule by playing the Notre Dame game in Philadelphia. NFL President Joe Carr's decision was swift and harsh. The Maroons were kicked out of the NFL, and the 1925 title eventually went to the Cardinals.
The Cardinals never laid claim to it until the Bidwell family bought them in 1933, and it was only then that they stepped in and said, oh, we'll take this championship, even though we didn't earn it.
Over 70 years later, the residents of Pottsville haven't forgotten. They say the fight to reclaim what is theirs will continue. Meanwhile, the Maroons' presence is felt all around town. A picture of the 1925 team hangs on the high school bulletin board. A trophy made of, what else? Coal sits in the center of town. And like any good NFL city, there's a bar for the team. The locals' choice on tap? Stolen Championship Ale.
I was born and raised and lived all my life in this region. I know the kind of people, when they feel like an injustice has been done, the fight will continue until it's been righted.
Yeah, the 1925 championship belongs to Pottsville because they run it fair and square on the field of battle.
I think the Bidwell family should give it up.
Neither the Bidwells nor the NFL have any plans to re-examine the 1925 championship. And Pottsville residents claim this decision haunts a franchise that, despite shifting cities, can't seem to escape misfortune.
Because the Cardinals stole our championship, they'll always have a curse upon them. When our championship is returned to us, we'll consider lifting the curse.
It's inexplicable in a league that basically legislates parity that the Cardinals could be so bad for so long.
I was getting calls from Arizona. Please stop this curse. I said, no way until that title is given back to Pottsville.
I don't know about curses, but I do know that I'm not alone among Maroon supporters when I say that we hope that this is the closest the Cardinal organization gets to the Super Bowl hosting one.
The never-ending football curse of all time. The Pottsville curse.
Do you believe in curses when it comes to football?
No. No, I don't. No, I don't. Except that one, that Pottsville curse. I believe in that one.
The Cardinals haven't had much luck, and the root of all evil can be traced way back to 1925.
Here's what happened. The Pottsville Maroons won the NFL World Championship. They won it all. The next week, then, they played a college all-star game.
They had agreed to play an exhibition game against a team of Notre Dame All-Stars.
It was pro football early days. It was just about the money. So they won the NFL. It's like, okay, let's pick up some extra money. Let's play the college all-stars. Well, the NFL didn't like it. So the NFL voided their championship and gave it to the Chicago Cardinals.
NFL team barnstormed all over the country back then. So to penalize them like that was preposterous, unfair.
So Bill Bidwell and the Bidwell family, that curse is on them. And until they return that Super Bowl world title back to the Pottsville Maroons, they're going to continue to have losing season after losing season.
I can't watch this.
It is possible for an entire county or city to collectively send out some black magic against something.
Our number 8 jinx must be strong magic. The Cardinals have had more name changes than division titles.
But they are what we thought they were.
Absolutely the reason why the Cardinals have never won. No different. Of course, it makes all the sense in the world. Had they not gotten screwed over in 1925, things would have been totally different. Neil Lomax wouldn't have gotten sacked so much. Jim Hart wouldn't have gotten sacked so much. It's clear that this curse is true and strong. It's not to be feared.
And Grammatico is dancing up in the air, and it looks like he hurt his knee.
I don't ever root for anybody, but let's just say the Pittsburgh Steelers did us a favor back in 2008, making sure that the curse stayed.
That 100-yard interception return for a touchdown, there had to be some sort of curse on the game for allowing something like that to happen.
Spirits are blocking in Pottsville. Pottsville saying, no, give us that thing back.
14-point swing. Going to be tough to come back from that.
I think it would be a great idea if the Cardinals and the people of Pottsville got together and let's work through it.
All he has to do is acknowledge that the Pottsville Maroons won this championship in 1925. What is Bidwell even getting out of that? Like, does Bidwell wear a t-shirt that says that 1925 NFL champ?
Boy, it doesn't get any darker.
I could just imagine the Bidwells walking out in the middle of farmland,
Okay, we've got your 25 NFL championship. Here's your trophy.
I don't look at it as giving into the demands of a curse. I look at it as making peace with my enemy. You could call it like spiritual blackmail, if you will. I choose to look at it, well, I'm just trying to make peace and harmony. I bet if you do that, things will change.